is Lauren Clary. I'm about to read to you a section of an article by Miriam Wasserman about urban sprawl. I'd like you to think about it throughout this speech. In just 15 years, between 1982 and 1997, the amount of urban and built-up land in the United States grew by almost 40%, 2.5 times faster than the population. More than half of that growth took place recently in the 5 years between 1992 and 1997. The topic of sustainable living and urban sprawl should be particularly interesting to you because we live in an urban area that is quickly being taken over by construction and cheap housing. I believe that I have a unique look on this topic since I have been researching and outlining my own tiny house/van since I was 15. Today, I would like to share 3 points about issues with people's preconceived notions about living small, how to solve the issue of urban sprawl and wasteful living, and the hope for the future. First, let's begin with the first point. There is a problem with concentrations of people spreading outward from urban centers without concern of sustainability. One issue is people's lack of knowledge about different kinds of housing. If someone has grown up in suburbia, they are most familiar with large houses on little to no property. Taking me, for example, if my family hadn't already been interested in camping and traveling, I probably never would have been comfortable in something as small as a tent. Some of my friends have never even traveled past the surrounding states, let alone gone camping. The mindset that people must live in large accommodations is what sways many from alternative housing. When you think of having unlimited money, you think of mansions, yachts, and private jets. If you were given the choice between a large house in Los Angeles and a small sustainable cottage, many would choose the large house. Now that we have covered the first point, problems with people's preconceived notions about alternative living, let's move on to the second point, which is solutions. One way that you can help is more people aware about urban sprawl and how urban sprawl impacts the environment. Urban sprawl is simply the rapid spread of urban neighborhoods. Sprawling, low-density development has been associated with traffic congestion, tax increases, greater cost of providing services, environmental degradation, such as air pollution, water quality, inner-city decay, and reduced access to open space. Also, in an article by Miriam Wasserman. Another way to help opening one's mind to the damages of wasteful living, as well as giving alternatives. When talking to a friend of mine, Anita, I asked her what she thought about moving from a large house to a camper affected the environment. Her response was, I think that living in a bigger house did produce more waste, especially since there were so many rooms that we had to air condition and heat. I understand that while Anita was living in a larger house, she had twice the amount of people to care for. But after staying in both living situations, I'm sure there's a middle ground that gives her family enough room as well as being sustainable. Now that you've understood the issues and ways to solve them, allow me to share with you the results that will occur. The hope is that people will become interested in alternative living and change their preset notions. I understand that people want to own their own land, but if they were to own a camper, for example, then they would have the ability to be always on land. They could explore freely and see so much more of nature. I also hope that people will begin to look for alternative methods to keep the environment healthy, along with keeping their homes. Things like greenhouses to produce heat for your homes and create food, maybe even roofs that have a layer of grass on top to reduce the amount of heat that is reflected back into the atmosphere. If these kinds of solutions became popular, then change will happen rapidly. Thus, the environment will also change for the better. My purpose today was to show you that there are always ways to enjoy a house that may be different than what you're accustomed to. To summarize, it's been a pleasure to meet with you today to discuss alternative housing and its effect on the environment. And I've been able to share 3 areas of importance as they deal with our topic today. Problems with how people perceive living sustainably, solutions to the problem, and what I hope will change after people become informed. Now is the best time to invest in a tiny house. It'll be a great way to quarantine yourself.